Here we have an Excel spreadsheet related to our research question that contains real data from a sample derived from this class. You'll notice three variable columns that contain participant identification numbers, the number of times a person typically exercises in a week during winter months, and finally, the number of times a person typically exercises in a week during summer months. You'll notice that all the names have been replaced to maintain confidentiality for each of the students in this class. You'll also notice blank cells where students chose not to provide a response. We're not going to worry about these missing data for this analysis, but we'll talk about it further in later activities. Because each person varies in how much they exercise, we would like to summarize the data into a single value for each season. This would be our measure of central tendency. We can then compare to see if there's a numerical difference on average between our two seasons of winter and summer. So to obtain the measures of central tendency, we're going to click on the Data tab in the top toolbar. And then we're going to go all the way to the left to the tab that says Data Analysis. We'll click on that Data Analysis tab, and a dialog box will open up. There's lots of statistical analyses in this dialog box. The one that we're interested in is going to be descriptive statistics, so we want to make sure that that one is highlighted. Once it is highlighted, we'll click the OK button. A new dialog box opens up, and you'll see that we'll need to indicate our input. So this input range is going to be the data that we're going to analyze. So click in that box and then go over to the column to which you want to analyze. So we're going to start with the winter months or the winter season. And so I'm going to highlight this column. In my dialog box, I'm going to leave my group by columns because our data, our variables are in columns, so we're not going to mess with that. And I'm going to click this box that says labels in the first row. Labels in the first row indicate whether or not you're going to include the first row in the data as part of your analysis. In this case, these are words, it's a label, it's the name of the variable, it is not data. And so we want to indicate to Excel to not include that first row in the data analysis, and that's what clicking on this box does. Next, you'll see some output options. In particular, we want to indicate where we're going to put our output. So I'm going to click on this icon that says Output Range. Now be careful here, you'll notice that when you click on it, that the input range highlights. That's a terrible user design. Just make sure when you click that Output Range dial that you go ahead and click inside the box here, because that's where you're going to indicate where you want your output. Now you're going to want your output at least a few columns away from your data in case you need to either do some sorting or if you need to do transforms in the future. So I'm going to select H2 here, and that's where we're going to put our data output. Finally, the last thing we need to do is we need to get our measures of central tendency. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this summary statistics box, and that's going to give us the mean, median, and the mode. And once I have that, I have everything I need for this analysis. We'll talk about these other options in later activities. So I'll go ahead and click OK. You'll notice that our output shows up right where we wanted it to start, right there in cell H2. You also notice that you can't see all of your statistics, at least the names of all your statistics. So I'm going to widen that column of cells, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to hover between H and I columns, right here where I get this bar with two arrows. I'm just going to double click that, and it'll automatically set so I can see what all those statistical names are. Of course, the ones that we're interested in are the measures of central tendency, so that's going to be the mean. And I'm going to go up to the Home tab here, and I'm just going to select my highlighter so I can see the mean, the median, and the mode. And so you'll see that the mean in this case is 3.1, the median is 3, and the mode is 3 also. And that's it. That's how you get your measures of central tendency. So you notice we have another variable here. It is summer. So let's get our measures of central tendency for summer as well. And so I'm going to go a little bit quicker this time because we already know how to do it. But I'm going to go to my Data tab, go Data Analysis. I'll make sure my descriptive statistics is highlighted. I'll click OK. I will now put in my new input range. So I'm going to click in that box. I'm going to highlight the old and replace it with column C. I still have labels in the first row, so I'll leave that checked. I do want to change my output because I don't want it to override where my winter output is. And so I'm going to click in the box and highlight, and I'm going to put the summer output just right below the winter output. In this case, it looks like it's cell H19. I still have my summary statistics box checked, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And there's my output for the summer months when it comes to exercise in a week. And so I'll go ahead and highlight my measures of central tendency again. So my mean, my median, and my mode. So on the next page, we'll start answering some questions related to our research question. Do people differ in how much they exercise depending on the season, in this case between winter and summer?